Hey guys, Simon here. For today's video, let's look at what some are calling the 4th Eldrazi Titan, and a possible contender for the horror Nahiri is trying to unleash in Shadows over Innistrad. Its name's been bounced around a lot lately, and it's time to bring it to the forefront of discussion. What exactly is Merritt Lodge? Well, in terms of cards, Merritt Lodge is nothing more than a token, not having a specific card dedicated to her true form. Rather, much like the new Ormondal Profane Prince from SOI, Merritt Lodge is summoned from a land. She was introduced to the world in Ice Age with Dark Depths, a legendary snowland. Dark Depths comes into play with 10 ice counters. By paying 3 mana, you can remove one of said counters. Once Dark Depths has 0 ice counters on it, sacrifice it and put a Merritt Lodge token into play. Merritt Lodge being a huge 20/20 black avatar creature with flying, and it's indestructible. Those stats being an avatar and indestructible. Sounds like an Eldrazi to me. So it was a huge monster. Who cares? How exactly could that possibly make Merritt Lodge an Eldrazi? Well, for a creature as big as this, we of course got some interesting lore to go with it. While the set she was introduced in, Ice Age, takes place on the plane of Dominaria, it's noted that Merritt Lodge is not native to this world. Lifetimes ago, before the events of Ice Age, Merritt Lodge traveled to Dominaria and caused untold destruction, until it was finally frozen within the heart of a glacier. So if she wasn't from Dominaria, that must mean she traveled there from somewhere else, like Planeswalkers or the Eldrazi do. Could Merritt Lodge be a Planeswalker rather than an Eldrazi? Well, I'd give props to Wizard for giving a giant Kraken avatar a spark, but I doubt that's the case. A scholar from the homeland of Urza, who spent several years investigating this being, originally believed that she was in fact a planeswalker. There was no other way to describe a being who was able to transcend the multiverse in such a way, but ultimately he was proven wrong in his assumption. In truth, Merritt Lodge is a being of immense power who's able to move across the Blind Eternities, but not in the same way planeswalkers do. It may seem like there lacks a lot of evidence here, and you're right, but it's all we have to go off of. So Merritt Lodge isn't a planeswalker, but a being of unbelievable power that can travel the multiverse. Sound like anything we know? This is basically a similar description given by Ugin when he describes the Eldrazi. Even if this is somehow a coincidence, you can't deny how aesthetically similar Merritt Lodge is to the other Eldrazi Titans. She's described as being a large, kraken-like creature, having enough arms and tentacles to completely cover up its body in a tangle of grasping appendages. All 3 of the Eldrazi Titans are noted as having several extra arms or tentacles, using them to spread their influence and consume the world. I mean, honestly, look at this thing. It looks like Emrakul's final form. Both Merritt Lodge and the Eldrazi Titans seem to have the same inspiration, being designed after the cosmic horrors of Lovecraftian mythos. Based off the same inspiration, spreading death and destruction in their wake, planeswalking without being a planeswalker, and being a giant octopus? How can Merritt Lodge not be considered an Eldrazi? Well, there does seem to be some evidence that leads to that conclusion. Firstly, the Eldrazi are known as being colorless beings of the Blind Eternities, only taking physical avatar forms on Zendikar to feed off the world's mana. If Merritt Lodge was an Eldrazi, she would probably follow this principle, but the avatar summoned by Dark Depths isn't colorless, it's aligned with black mana. It's also believed that Emrakul, Ulamog, and Kozilek were the only 3 Titans because they were the only ones lured to Zendikar by the original 3 planeswalkers who trapped them there. If Merritt Lodge was an Eldrazi, wouldn't she have made the journey to Zendikar as well? And finally, the 3 Eldrazi Titans are all able to create lineages or broods from their own forms to help them feed off planes. Shouldn't we have seen little Merritt Lodges running around Dominaria during Ice Age? While some of these points hold water, others don't. For one, Merritt Lodge actually did make a brood of some kind. As it was frozen in ice, the beast had its dreams made manifest to terrorize the world. This is depicted in the card Wrath of Merritt Lodge. It may not be the broodlings we're used to from the Eldrazi, but it's certainly more damning than having none at all. And why didn't Merritt Lodge take the bait to Zendikar? Well, duh. She must be smarter than the other Titans. But seriously, nothing is known about Merritt Lodge after she was frozen. Perhaps she didn't go to Zendikar because she was still stuck in that glacier. The biggest thing standing in the way of Merritt Lodge being an Eldrazi is that black mana alignment. Who knows? Maybe it's possible, or maybe it's not. All we know is that Merritt Lodge is a being of immense power that can terrorize any plane in the multiverse. Eldrazi or otherwise, it's still a force to be reckoned with. And some believe this force is what Nahiri is trying to summon to Innistrad. In lieu of the Titan Emrakul, many theorize that Merritt Lodge will appear on Innistrad to take vengeance on Nahiri's enemy, the vampire planeswalker Soren Markov. Despite what some say is concrete evidence of Emrakul's involvement, there does appear to be some hints in SOI that suggest Merritt Lodge's appearance in the Dark World. But that's a subject for another video. For now, I want to know what you guys think about Merritt Lodge. Do you believe this powerful planeswalking kraken could be a lost Eldrazi Titan? Or is it nothing more than a cosmic octopus? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, remember to hit that like button and subscribe. It goes a long way in supporting future content. You can also support this channel by becoming a patron on Patreon and finding me on other social media outlets. Find links to those in the description below. As always guys, thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you next time.